This tropical wave in the Caribbean is the next area for potential tropical development. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. Great to see you on a Monday. First thing, I want to say thank you for all of you who joined me from across the world for our live stream coverage here at Meteo Mundo of the landfall of Hurricane Debbie along the Gulf Coast of Florida early on this Monday morning. Heard from a lot of you from all over and really appreciate your support. So thank you for tuning in. Coming up in this video, we're going to talk what's going on with Debbie right now, and then we're going to deep dive into this tropical wave bringing showers and storms and windy conditions to the Eastern Caribbean and the potential for development as we go through the week. You know, I love to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comment section where you're viewing from, what the weather has been like. Obviously, for our friends in the Southeast United States, it's been extremely wet and stormy in portions of the Caribbean as well. We are going to start off with the latest information on Hurricane Debbie, which is now a tropical storm. Okay, winds continue to diminish, but Debbie is only moving now at 6 miles an hour. So as I mentioned in the earlier live stream, we are transitioning from the wind threat storm surge. And yes, there has been some extremely bad flooding in portions of Florida to extend that flood potential into southeast Georgia and South Carolina as well. All the numbers that you see are the wind gusts here, and late on this Monday afternoon, we are still getting winds well over 50 and even 60 miles an hour. But Debbie is going to be slowly eking its way through southeast Georgia, is still forecast to emerge off of the coastline of Georgia and then have very erratic movement over the next several days. And that's the problem, because it's going to take days for Debbie to potentially get away from this area. And the historic and catastrophic rainfall potential is still in play for southeast Georgia, coastal South Carolina, and maybe even a small area of North Carolina. Again, my friends in this part of the world, in the southeast United States, the areas that I just mentioned, please check in with your local officials, the emergency managers, the National Weather Service offices for updated, real-time, very important information on what could be some historic flooding in these areas. We continue to see some spiraling bands move on shore. There's that tornadic potential, still very gusty winds. And again, if Debbie can get offshore, it might even strengthen a little bit more in the open waters there. Temperatures out off of the Georgia coastline, very, very warm. So the bottom line is, the biggest situation is still going to be the rain potential. This is the European model, latest model run there. Yesterday and earlier this morning, we were around 19 inches as maximums. We're still in the bottom right-hand side of your screen, 17.83 inches of rain as a maximum on that map. You can see the bullseyes are going to be, again, southeast Georgia, coastal sides of South Carolina as well. And it's also very clear to see where we have Debbie kind of stalling out. If you see those browns, that's the lighter rainfall totals. That's where the broad center of circulation would be. So just kind of churning for 48, even close to 72 hours, kind of eking along the Georgia and South Carolina coastlines before it moves on shore. Again, the National Hurricane Center is saying 10 to 20 inches of rain, and locally maybe even up to 30 inches of rain. This is going to be extremely significant rainfall in these areas. Friends, as we get into the rest of the forecast, again, thank you so much for all the support. Thank you for liking this video. First of all, just a small payback, and I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to Meteo Mundo, you want your latest tropical forecast, the latest daily forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas. You found your home. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. And again, thank you for finding ways to support me here at Meteo Mundo. Okay, so that's the latest with Debbie. Let's get back out to the broad perspective here and take a look at what's happening across the rest of our area. Going to throw on our temperatures first. Again, you know how it's been. When it's not raining, it's been very, very hot. But we've also had some squally weather coming in with this tropical wave. Now, the axis of this moisture is moving west from the Lesser Antilles. But yesterday and earlier this morning, we had some good downpours. Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad, Tobago, Barbados, trying to eke towards Nueva Esparta. Again, it doesn't mean that the entire island got some of this, but we had winds of 30, 35 miles an hour. We had 25 to 50 millimeters of rain. That's an inch or two. And this will continue to churn off towards the west. Now, it's kind of elongated right now, and it's actually thrown some moisture right over the ABC Islands. Some of you dropped it in the comment section during the live stream that you were getting some morning rain on this Monday, and that's fantastic to see. Passing showers and storms are still likely for the ABC Islands over the next couple of days. This is just an area that's been plagued by exceptionally dry weather. Now, we don't have as much rain right now as you get into the Leeward Islands. I'm going to throw on the visible satellite imagery. We've had some passing showers here. We've tried to build in that moisture north towards Dominica and Montserrat, but again, it's just been a little bit drier day. Anguilla, Antigua, Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Saba, St. Eustatius, but winds are still gusting over 30 miles an hour. Again, we've had a few showers here, and the odd opportunity for the U.S. and British Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, but overall, it's just been a bit drier day in these areas here, and winds are still very fresh. They're still mainly out of the east right now, and they're gusting in places like San Juan up to and over 30 miles an hour. Quieter day for our friends in Hispaniola, just a few isolated storms developing at the hour. We've basically been dry over the Turks and the Caicos. We've had a few showers and storms ramp up across the northwest Bahamas on the very far southeast tail end of Debbie. Let me throw back on the radar imagery here, and you can see just a couple of showers. They were relatively slow moving here. They developed over Grand Bahama and Walker's Key and Abaco, kind of shifted off towards the east. We had some pockets of heavy rain, a little bit of lightning associated with it, but overall, it's been a quieter day here. We've had a few showers over Andros near Bimini as well, and all that moisture is obviously funneling from south to north, so the winds have been gusty from time to time there as well. Back over here, we've had a few showers and storms develop on the eastern sides of Cuba. Notice again that quick kind of movement racing off towards the south and the west. Showers and storms are beginning to develop at the hour here. And again, this yellow area, friends, is the potential tropical development area. I'm going to take that off just so it's a little bit easier to see here. And also, again, just so you can see, very late on this Monday afternoon, we've had a few storms develop on the far western sides of Jamaica right now. Kind of started in St. James, St. Elizabeth parishes, but they've gotten more prominent right now in Hanover and Westmoreland parishes, Lucy, Savannah Lamar, Negril, trying to develop near Cambridge and Montego Bay, and all that's getting going at the hour and then working its way from east to west. But a fair amount of lightning here. You can see that on our live lightning count at Meteo Mundo. Again, the storms kind of try to get going in the central portion of Jamaica, but are more prominent out west. It's been drier today out towards the east. If we take a look at the winds here, first of all, not seeing any winds out of that, but the feels like temperatures, again, Kingston roasting today, over 110 Fahrenheit. That's over 43 degrees Celsius. You get up to around 114, 115, we're about 45 degrees Celsius. Rough and drier day for our friends in the Cayman Islands as well. And then the showers have been very spotty. It's been a drier forecast, especially for the Yucatan lately, even down towards Belize. Few showers trying to eke in right now to the northern sides of Honduras, coastal sides of Nicaragua. They're just more scattered in nature for today. But again, cooling storms. Nice little blow up with thunderstorms here in the southwest side of the Caribbean. Some of those are pushing inland to places like Panama and Costa Rica as well. So that's what it's kind of looking like right now. Now, this is the tropical wave we're going to be talking about for the potential development. Again, in the Atlantic Basin, there's another very strong tropical wave coming off of the West African coast. And as you would expect this time of the year, friends, now we're just getting into a much more active pattern. So again, and I mentioned this in the last couple of videos, did not expect this wave to develop in the Eastern Caribbean, and the Hurricane Center agreed, so that yellow formation area doesn't start now until the Central Caribbean as it gets past the ABC Islands. The first opportunity is going to be about Wednesday or Thursday, and then a better opportunity into the northwest sides of the Caribbean, over the Yucatan, and potentially somewhere in the Gulf of Mexico. But the models really start to get divergent from there. So let's fire up those models for you right now. Again, we're going to look at the GFS first here, and let me just make sure I've got the time frame to where I want it. And again, I'm going to go out pretty far here. If you have an opportunity while we're sitting here loading this up, and you want to hit that like button again for me, I really appreciate that. So again, a tropical wave is an elongated area of showers and storms. It's going to come along with very fresh easterly winds. Places like the ABC Islands and Puerto Rico and Hispaniola and eventually Jamaica and Cuba and the Cayman Islands will all have our winds freshen up out of the east, 25 to 35 miles an hour. It's going to kick up some sea conditions as well. So the guarantee out of this is we're going to get fast moving showers and storms. So it's going to get wetter in these areas. It's just whether we can actually get this tropical wave to begin to wrap up and form a low-level center of circulation and become a tropical depression, a tropical storm, or something even stronger. And again, right now, we're so early in the game, all of that is kind of speculation for us here. But again, down the road, this is a 30% chance of development over the next 7 days. It did not go any higher development chances from this time yesterday. That's good news. But you can again see on the GFS model, this is still an elongated trough or a tropical wave that extends all the way from, Nicaragua all the way into the southeast sides of Cuba. So there comes the rain associated with it. And then as it gets into the far northwest Caribbean, as it crosses the Yucatan, does this try and consolidate? Look, wind shear is still going to be very low. Sea surface temperatures are going to be exceptionally hot here. And at the end of this time frame, as we get into the end of the weekend, we might see some consolidation here. So we'll see how that plays out. Again, I'm going to just show you the broad perspective one more time. So if you live in this area, I'm obviously going to be monitoring this for you daily, but just expect rain to be coming along for the ride with this tropical wave. We'll even have some showers with this from the Turks and the Caicos and portions of the Bahamas as well. And there is more tropical moisture developing here in the Western Atlantic. So even our friends in the Lesser Antilles, although the rain chances won't be as high, we're still going to get some rain passing through fast moving showers. This is a very fast moving tropical wave and a very progressive pattern in general, meaning things are moving quite quickly, sans what's happening with Debbie, which is just going to really stall out. And we mentioned how the winds there associated with Debbie at the surface are fighting the movement of Debbie, and that's why there's very little movement over the next several days. Going to take a look at the winds here. This is going to be the surface winds. I just want you to notice, and this is going to take a minute for this to fully pop on here, all that purple and white, okay? Again, those are 20 to 30 mile an hour winds that are going to be relatively sustained in these areas as this tropical wave moves through. So fresh winds each and every day for us here. And I don't know why it's going back and forth like that, but that's okay. See if we can't get this thing to pop on here. I tell you what I might end up doing is just going out to one quick time frame here. If it wants to behave, it might not. Let me try looping it up again. Sometimes here we're in between model runs and we're not going to fully get it. Okay, it's trying, I think. Trying to develop towards the ninth. I don't want to sit here and wait forever. All right. It does look like we kind of lose that data there. That's all right. No big deal. The bottom line is, even on this GFS model, there's not a lot in the way of wrap up through the Caribbean. A lot of wind in general, but nothing really wrapping up as of yet. All right, so that's what I'll be monitoring here. And you can obviously see the stronger winds associated with Debbie once that pops back on here in just 1 second. It's trying to pull all the way out now to the 11th. It's trying. Let's see, I'm going to give it one more chance. All right, I don't think it's going to work. No worries, we can look at it tomorrow. The GFS Ensemble, okay? First of all, if you look into the Caribbean, you're going to see a couple here towards the weekend that try and crank up a bit as it gets into the Gulf of Mexico about this time next week. The ensembles are all over the place. Obviously, at the beginning, this is Debbie, and you're going to see on the GFS here that Debbie might try and strengthen if that core stays offshore. Now, these are the Ensemble products, so some of the members are onshore, some of them are offshore, but obviously the onshore ones are going to be weaker, the offshore ones are going to be stronger, and then this is the tropical wave that I've been highlighting here with potential development somewhere in the Gulf of Mexico late this weekend, early next week. Doesn't mean that it can't wrap up in the Northwest Caribbean, but I think it might be a slower kind of trajectory of development here, okay? Now, when we look at the European ensembles, you're gonna see all of these with Debbie. There's more of the members just trying to keep a broad center of circulation, but you're also not gonna see much out of the European model with this next tropical wave. It's down the road in about a 10 to 14 day time frame where the European model gets much more active. So again, this is Debbie. Stronger storms offshore, but a lot of signals there. This is the tropical wave coming in. This weekend, we've got a couple of signals down on the southwest side of the Gulf of Mexico, and then the next robust tropical wave really brings the opportunity for more widespread activity here. But again, we're looking at a 10 to 14 day time frame. We don't put a lot of weight in that, but what I really wanted to highlight with the European model, at least as of today, is that it doesn't have a ton of areas of development here on the Ensemble product with the next tropical wave through the Caribbean right now, but more signals for an active mid-August coming up. Wave conditions are going to be rough, obviously off of the Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina coastlines. There you can see that tropical wave and what it's going to do in the Caribbean and eventually into the Gulf of Mexico. So again, we're going to stay with our easterlies, 20 to 30 miles an hour and some higher gusts. We can really start to see again some of that heavy wind can move up to the south and up to the north and to the west, and then eventually again maybe even consolidate into something into the Gulf of Mexico. But this is about 6-7 days down the road. So for my friends in the Caribbean, it's about trying to get some better rain chances initially, and then eventually watching to see if this wraps up. In the Bahamas, I would expect some long period easterly swells to continue as well. Friends, I appreciate all the support. Again, you can find us across a ton of social media, Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook. If you want to send me a picture or video, it is myMediaMundo@gmail.com. Again, thank you for tuning in to the live stream earlier today. I hope you got something out of it. Hope you got something out of this video. Thank you again for liking and subscribing. I'll be back tomorrow with a thorough update with the forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas. Until then, you have a great rest of your Monday, and I'll see you then right here at Media Mundo.